so we can check our audio and everything?
Sure.
We have like 30 seconds.
I'm hanging out in the chat, so if you guys are watching live, iFixit.com/chat, we'll be watching and paying attention as we do this. And my operative question for everyone at the moment is if anyone has Beats headphones, because I do not.
There's got to be somebody here with Beats headphones.
Somebody that's cooler than me.
Yeah, I'm not cool enough to have Beats.
How about Burberry?
No.
No. Apple keeps buying all these companies none of us have had any interaction with. Like, nobody's been to Dixon's.
Yeah.
Carlos from Panama says he has some original Beats.
Oh, nice.
Carlos, how's the bass? He says expensive, yeah. But, all right, cool. They always seemed a little too big for me. I have my, I use my Etymotic. I have Etymotic earbuds, and I think they're awesome.
Oh. We're getting echoes. Make sure that's. I tried them on at Best Buy, and I didn't like the way they fit over my ears. I don't have that big ears.
They didn't fit, or they?
No, they did.
Really
it's just
big.
like maybe my head's too small. Maybe that's the problem.
It seems like a lot of plastic.
Yeah.
Kyle, can you send me links during?
They're having problems with the live feed.
Video room computer.
Okay. It sure seems like the live feed is going okay. So Carlos, we're paying attention there. He says he got it. Cool.
Cool beans.
And Weo,
Call me Owen.
Should heretofore be known as Owen.
Yes.
Weo. We're just getting a few things set up. We'll get going here in just a moment.
Yep. We're live. Are we live? Are we
ready to roll? All right.
Cool beans.
Let's do this.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Gwen. I didn't see you there.
So, hi, I'm Gwendolyn, and this is Kyle, and we are back here with iFixit Live, and we're trying to do it. We're on a more regular basis. So this was only 2 weeks after the last one. So what you been up to? What you been doing?
What have I been doing? We went to Maker Faire.
Fun. We went to Mini Maker Faire.
I went to that too. So I did 2 Maker Fairs in the last 2 weeks. You did one.
Yeah.
The one.
Tell me about the big one.
The big one had more fire. There was an octopus that shot flaming, and there was a fire truck roaming around that shot fire into the air.
Yeah, and we were there, right? What did we do while we were there?
We were doing teardowns. We took apart a whole bunch of smartwatches and various wearable devices.
Very cool. Which ones did we take apart?
We took apart the Fitbit, which is this little tiny.
One of those.
You have one? So the Fitbit, we kind of put ourselves a little on trial. We had all the devices out, and we said, well, we don't really know how we're going to get inside, and we brought a bunch of tools, and we'd never taken apart that particular Fitbit before.
Right.
And fortunately, we brought a Dremel because that was the only way we were able to get inside was to cut the poor Fitbit open.
Like down the middle, or how
yeah,
did
I mean,
you
we
get
tried
in?
to sort of cut a cap on one side, and then once we had the plastic open, but I mean, the way they make it is they're just.
Is there a way to put it back together though?
I think it was pretty much toast.
Yeah, so not repairable.
Not repairable. And then we did a pebble steel, so that was fun because we haven't actually done a teardown on iFixit.com of the pebble steel, but it was fun to do it and get a feel and compare. And the pebble was actually there, so we had some of their engineers who actually came by and helped us. Well, they didn't help us with the teardown. They sort of sat back and laughed at us as we tried to take their watch apart.
Because
it's a little bit glued in.
Yeah.
And it was. I remember last time people were asking us what we do with parts when we're done with teardowns. We broke the pebble.
Right.
We separated the backlight from the LCD, and I think maybe with a little bit of soldering, it could go back together. But these wearables, I think that electronics companies are showing that even though we're accustomed to electronics that are small, they're not really accustomed to making repairable small devices. We know it's possible because you've got Rolex and Timex and all these watch companies have been making really repairable watches for a long time. But the electronics companies are like, we'll just glue it together.
Do you think there's going to be someone out there that is already out there, like Apple or Google, that might put out a product that is repairable? And
I'd be optimistic if Google were doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this discussion about Project Aura, which is a modular cell phones. The idea is you could swap in You could swap in a camera module. You could swap in a bigger battery. You could pull the speaker off and put a bigger battery in lieu of the speaker. So that's like at the extreme side of repairability, where you don't even need to fix anything because they're all just modules that you swap out. The problem with that is that all the interconnects and extra plastic that you have to have makes the phone bigger and a bit heavier. So the Aura folks are saying that their goal is 25% overhead for modularity, which would mean that what they want to get to is that it would be 25% thicker than a typical phone.
Okay.
And in exchange for it being an extra millimeter thicker, it would be modular.
Right. You and I still have the 4S's.
We do.
So
I like my iPhone.
Yeah, I like mine.
See,
it's still a lot thicker than, the 5s, but...
And I've got my transparent rear panel on it, which I like very much. So...
Look at that.
And I like to... We have the Liberation Kit, but you don't have to liberate your phone. You can just, leave the screws off.
I don't recommend that, Kyle.
And then you're good to go. Oh, there, my battery's falling out. See, this is the problem when you don't have a back.
Put the screws back
Put the phone back together. All right. This is the going commando.
Oh, gosh.
Of iPhone. It's just going without screws.
Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah, we went to Mini Maker Faire, which was less fire. You're right. I went to Maker Faire last year. So I like that a lot. But the Mini Maker Faire, we did a video. We met some really cool people. And that was here in SLO. I know there's Mini Maker Fairs all over the place, but our little community had theirs, and I got to...
There are many Maker Fairs.
There are.
But this one is ours.
Mini Maker Fairs. I got to play a banana piano.
Okay.
And I powered a...
So the banana piano, it had...
Right, you had to touch the foil and, yeah. And
so it's using the capacitance of your...
Right.
There was something at Maker Faire where they had a bunch of plants, and you'd pet the grass, and it would make music.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
The grass it looked really good at the beginning of the day, and then later in the day, it was a little bit more beat down.
Right.
It had been over-petted.
Oh, okay. I made a scrambled egg with a solar conductor, so that was cool.
That was big solar.
The huge ones, yeah, out there. And then I powered a battery with a bicycle. So
okay.
I met so many makers. So we love Maker Faire, obviously, but what do you think iFixit? Where do we fit in with the maker movement?
Well, I think before anybody is tinkering with things, I mean, they're learning how to repair them.
Sure.
We all start out taking things apart, learning how they work, and
right.
You have to understand how things work to be able to make new things.
Yeah.
So repair is somewhere in that spectrum. People have been clearly we had to make things before they would break. Right. So we've been making and fixing things for forever, and I think it's just two sides of the same coin. We want to make lots of innovative, cool things, and then they break. And I posted some cool pictures from Maker Faire on Instagram where, in the midst of Maker Faire, everybody's demos are breaking, and then they're fixing them. And so there was one
that's
guy
super cool.
who had it's repair time.
Yeah.
Up where he was just having to take a break.
I know that's frustrating when you're trying to demo something.
But it's going to.
But that's cool that they just got in there and fixed it up.
And that's kind of the same thing. I mean, I went to Burning Man a while back,
nice.
And Burning Man is known for being crazy and arts and hippies out in the desert.
Right.
It's also people are bringing all sorts of technology into a really hostile environment. The dust is actually conductive, so it gets inside like car alternators and burns them up. And so this is. I went just kind of to watch the accelerated entropy and how quickly things broke, and it was really interesting to see all sorts of improvisational fixing.
Right.
That's something that I think you also see at Maker Faire. I mean, the most fun thing at Maker Faire is if you can get in before it opens and you see everybody frantically trying to fix their demos and get them ready to go, and people going around asking for duct tape. You can make a lot of money selling duct tape at Maker Faire.
I have a little duct tape kiosk.
Yes.
Nice.
Or Loctite.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, there was a couple of things that I wanted to go over with you. I know that one of the new cool things you were talking about, the Project Aura, but we have the Fairphone.
Fairphone.
Which one was this?
I think this is Fairphone number 7.
Number 7.
So we got one of their very early prototypes.
Yeah.
So Fairphone is a social experiment where they said, is it possible to make a phone sourced with materials sourced in a responsible way? So for every phone that they make, they set aside €5 to pay the workers that assemble the phone more money.
Wow.
They trace where the materials are coming from. So if you have a capacitor, they're saying, okay, the coltan that goes into these capacitors comes from Congo, and we want to support people would be able to give them a chance to have a living in Congo, but we don't want to buy coltan from mines that are being run by warlords. So they source the materials all the way through. And this was kind of the first time anybody had really done that level of analysis all the way through a supply chain on a phone. And then, of course, if they're making the Fairphone, they said, hey, we want to make it repairable. So they talked with us and they said, hey, how can we make the phone more repairable? And we gave them some ideas, and they said, okay, we can do a little bit of that, but they're actually using a reference design. So they weren't able to design an entire phone from scratch. So what they did was there's Chinese companies that have sort of standard Android reference phones. So they took that, they tweaked it a little bit, they verified the supply chain behind it. And the Fairphone 2, they're planning, they really want to get a 10 out of 10 repairability score. So this phone we gave a 7.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And one of the points, so the 7th point was having a repair manual on iFixit. So getting into the phone initially is not very difficult. I've got...
just do that with your fingers?
Yeah, so you can just pop the back panel off, and then the battery comes out. And then once the battery is out, you can see there's Phillips screws on the outside. So we have full-on step-by-step repair guides for the Fairphone. And then they went a step further and they said, look, it's not good enough to have repair guides out there. We need to have a spare parts supply chain as well.
Very cool.
So they said, hey, would you guys be interested in selling parts for the Fairphone? And we said, yes, absolutely. We would love to. And if Apple ever wants to come and make the same offer, we would love to sell Apple service parts too.
Yeah, Apple, if you're listening.
If you're listening. So the Fairphone is a European-only phone at the moment because it doesn't work on the U.S. frequencies. So we're selling spare parts for it in our European store, and you can see at Fairphone at eustore.ifixit.com we've got replacement parts.
Do they have an ETA? Do they want to bring it to the States, or
the Fairphone 2? They're planning on being a U.S. friendly.
Yeah.
And it's sad because we've got this phone and I want to use it, and you can use it to make voice calls in the U.S., but you can't.
It's not a
connect to the
smartphone
data
here.
networks.
Yeah.
So it'll work on Wi-Fi.
Soon though, right? Or like next year? Or
I think they're targeting next year. And I mean, they haven't been able to make enough of these phones. So that their initial production run, I think, was 25,000 or so, and they sold out.
Selling like hotcakes.
So they're doing another production run where if you're in Europe, you can order, I think, one for the next few weeks, and then they're going to make those, and that's all the Fairphone ones that will ever be made.
But we have one.
We have one.
It just doesn't work here.
And one thing that's cool, this is the first smartphone, only smartphone in the world I know of that comes with a repair manual for itself on the phone.
That is awesome.
So the phone comes with the iFixit app. We wrote the manual for it. And
other companies need to be taking note.
It's going so well that we completely sold out of Fairphone displays. Oh, wow. So the initial batch that they sent us were out of, and we have more on the way.
That's awesome.
So they cannot make replacement screens fast enough, which on the one hand is sad. It means people are breaking them, but on the other hand, there is an option.
Do you think it's kind of a durable phone? What are the
It seems pretty good.
Yeah?
So it's a little heavy.
Yeah, it is.
And they wanted the reference design that was durable, so they went with heavy. And maybe because it's heavy, when it drops, it has more of an impact, and it might cause the screen to break more. But overall, it seems like a pretty darn.
That's what cases
rugged.
are for. I mean,
Or just don't drop it.
Or well, I have that problem though. I drop mine all the time. Well, that's very cool. If you have any questions about that, or you want to look into that more, it's fairphone.com. So www.fairphone.com. Check that out. It's very cool. We love that product.
It's pretty cool. Our folks in Europe are using their Fairphones, and they really like it. So it seems like a really solid Android device.
We had a question from Owen, and he asked, do you think the Apple keyboard looks outdated now? And do you still love
I brought
the
your
glass
keyboard
aluminum?
here, and it's kind of fun. I've got her keyboard, and I'm screwing with her computer over here.
Why are you doing that? Stop.
Yeah. So, all right, this is the Apple wireless keyboard, and so the question is, does this look dated relative to the new stuff? So I guess I could put it here, and you can compare it to. And so, do you want to switch to a keyboard that's entirely made of glass? I don't know. What do you think? I think this is reasonably elegant.
Like?
Well, it would just be a flat surface.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I think Apple would say the trackpads on these computers, they would like it to be completely flat and integrated. They don't want any lines at all.
I kind of like being to push,
I like the tactile
push
feel.
things down, yeah.
Like at some point, you're just saying, well, why don't we switch to iPads, right?
Sure, yeah.
I think all of us prefer the physical keyboard over the iPad.
I think so too, yeah.
And it's weird. Have you seen how iPad sales are kind of plateauing? They're not selling. The rate of increase of iPad sales is not going up as fast as everybody
Really?
was expecting. So everybody was thinking, okay, the iPad is great. We're going to switch away from laptops. And I think we're sort of in the trough of disillusionment with iPads.
Do you think that's
right
the same
now.
for all tablets or just iPads?
I think it's all tablets.
All tablets,
I think
yeah.
people are saying, well, tablets are cool, but I need a computer to get work done.
Right.
And I mean, yes, there are some things you can do with a tablet, but I don't see anybody around the office here trying to get work done on a tablet.
Yeah.
We like our laptops.
I mean, we like our tablets too, but not for work. It's just not practical.
Not for work. But
No.
then, if you're going to have a laptop that's current, you also always need a tablet that's current.
Yeah.
Or I go on a trip, I need to take my laptop.
Sure.
And I know people tried like bringing a tablet just to get work done. And this is why you've got. Did you see the new Surface Pro 3?
I haven't seen the 3. No.
So Microsoft is trying to be more business-like, and so they've got a. It's expensive, but the idea is that tablet is a laptop replacement. And the early reviews are saying, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah.
We haven't had a chance to do our repairability analysis yet because the press has gotten the Surface Pro 3, but we're not necessarily the.
We're not privileged.
We're not that privileged. They know what we're going to do with it, and so they don't give it to us. So.
I remember the 2 was a beast to open, man. We did not like that one.
Right.
The
I mean,
Pro,
historically, the Surface, all of the Microsoft Surface tablets
Yeah.
have been really poorly designed.
Yeah.
From a repair perspective. I think across the board. I mean, you get inside and they're not. They look very expensive to manufacture and they're not easy to disassemble and repair. And in general, when you see people saying, "Hey, I have a broken Surface," repair shops aren't able to get the service parts to repair them, and they're tending to be a disposable commodity.
Yeah.
They're not holding the resale value very well, which is a shame because it would be a good thing for Microsoft to have more of these things out there in the ecosystem. So if Microsoft is watching, we would absolutely love to help you improve the design and make these things more repairable.
Yeah. That's very cool. So if you're just watching and you haven't found out where our chat room is, it is ifixit.com/chat. Join our chat. We will be answering your questions online live throughout this whole fun thing that we're doing together. So we have some pretty cool tools that we sell. Obviously, we're all about repair, and sometimes we have to create tools to. For instance, the Pentalobe came out, and we can't get into iPhone. So what did we do? We made a driver, right? So that one of the coolest jobs I think for iFixit is making the tools, coming up with that. And we have someone here. We have Brett Hart with us. Come on in.
So we have started engineering more and more of our own repair tools, and Brett is the mastermind behind a lot of our new tools.
He's so cool.
Hello,
He's got a cool job.
I do. I have a pretty awesome
It's a
job.
pretty awesome job. So tell us a little bit about what you do here.
So a lot of the repair tools don't exist, and so a lot of it. Oh, there we go. A lot of it is finding out what the repair is that we need to do, and then finding out the best or easiest way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I think the iPad is a great example of a tool or of a product that needs to be opened, needs a repair, but doesn't have a tool for it. And so eye opener.
Very
exactly.
cool. Yeah.
So coming up with that was kind of a fun cat and mouse. Is like, we try one thing and then we try again. It's nice that we have a bunch of folks, the teardown team, and all the guys working downstairs.
You wrote the original repair manual for the iPad?
For the iPad 2.
The iPad 2.
Very cool.
So that was the first glued together iPad.
Right.
So and the first way that you wrote the repair manual
was with the heat gun, and it was awful. It was terrible.
Disaster.
We ended up the iPad that we had. It looked like it was underwater because part of the LCD it warped the plastic sheets in there because we couldn't get the heat in the right spot.
Gross.
So that was kind of the impetus of let's make something that localizes the heat right where we want it.
Yeah.
So that's a great example of kind of like a very unique product that we made here. We also.
So you get to come up with the conception and then as well as the materials and.
Yeah, and really the conception kind of comes from anywhere. A lot of times people will just wake up in the middle of the night and think, wow, I really wish there was a way to do this, X and Y process. I want to be able to move logic boards easier. I want to undo screws faster. I want to do any number of things. And then it kind of falls on me and the rest of the tool folks to figure out how to actually do that.
Right.
Sometimes we have to move fast, like you have a new iPhone
Right.
5S and it's got a cable and we need a new way to get it open.
Yeah.
So we were able to get the ice clock out there.
Yeah.
Some other things we're able to take a bit more time on.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do have one of those.
Those are awesome.
I love this thing.
Yeah,
I use it all the time.
for iPhones. We've been testing using it on iPads a lot as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You take off the plastic piece here.
Uh-huh.
And then you can use it to.
After you maybe heat the adhesive.
Yeah. So with the eye opener,
Mm-hmm.
then you can just pop it up and get the pics underneath.
Nice.
Yeah, it works really well.
Nice. Very nice. Very cool.
Anytime we can make a tool more multi-purpose together.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. So tell us what you have in the making or that's coming out soon
Yeah.
that we should be looking for.
So this is kind of cool. This is a plastic tray, but it's more than that. It's a project tray. And the whole point of this is we wanted something where you could pull out pieces from any repair you're working on, put the pieces in in something, and have it not damage the product. So, for example, a lot of surfaces aren't ESD safe. This tray isn't conductive, but it won't generate static electricity, so it's safe to put like RAM modules and logic boards and stuff inside. It fits a phone nicely. You can put your tools in there.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a very simple product, and the idea is that everyone who does a repair should have one of these. Just on hand. They're cheap and easy. You can just have them use it. You know, use it a million times, use it once. But the idea is use it because this is probably the easiest, simplest way to keep your projects all organized.
Now, I never do a repair without my magnetic map. So how would this compare to the organization? Because the reason I like it so much is because I can make notes.
Yeah.
So what do we have in store for this
Well,
to
obviously,
keep track of things?
yeah, this one doesn't have any way to write on it. Well, I guess you could write on it, but you want
It's a little awkward.
yeah. And you maybe could do post-it notes, but what's kind of cool is notice that it's clear. You can see through it. And so something that we're working on is a printout of screws and parts for the guide. So you can print it out on your computer, set it on the table, set this on top of it, and then you kind of have like a guide to go through it. with
Super
you.
cool. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's just.
So this is the cell phone size version.
Yes.
When are we releasing the car size version of this?
That'll be next week,
Okay.
and then it'll be about 10 times larger.
Okay, about the size of this room.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has a nice a spot.
With buckets. and-
Yeah, dedicated for the transmission. You just set
Okay.
the transmission.
Just drop the tranny in.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. This is fun. So what's different about the? What does it take to make electrostatic safe plastic?
That is a good question, and it's funny when people talk about ESD. I think that's kind of a sketchy subject because generally, to be completely ESD safe, you need to be in a clean room with all kinds of special shoes and clips and all that kinds of stuff. This plastic here, this is designed to not get statically charged. In the same, you rub a balloon on your head and your hair stands up. This won't do that. And that's what sets it apart. And it's just a property of.
So it's an insulator that doesn't accumulate the
Right.
electric
Very
charge.
cool.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
And
This is a great product. I love it.
I mean, this is just one of many. Our goal is to develop a complete product line of everything you need to work on electronics, and so you should be able to equip a workbench pretty easily.
This is available now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You can buy that online right now.
Cool.
And
Get yours today.
in stores soon. Maybe.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We
What
do
else?
have some
Oh, go
of
ahead.
some of our tools are making it into Radio Shack. So
Nice.
if you
Check out your local Radio
Yeah.
Shack for our stuff.
Radio Shack is starting to become more and more interesting and relevant. They
Hey.
were so useful in the 80s and they were so worthless
Yeah.
in the 90s and 2000s, and they're starting to get good again.
Nice.
So they've got Arduinos and they have some kind of cool new pan device, and they've got some iFixit tools. It's kind of exciting to see what Radio Shack has been
It
doing.
might even be a resource for replacing components.
I think
know,
they are
they did that
starting to
once.
bring back some of the component library. So if you need a capacitor,
Cool.
I think they might be getting there.
I did go there once for a capacitor, and they had like 3 capacitors, and it was none of them were the capacitor I needed. So then I went online and got it.
Nice.
You know.
Yeah.
So I've also
So
got.
what else you got?
I've got this. This is a great piece of plastic, and I've got what it's for right over there. Excuse me.
So,
All right. So
this is. We made this on our laser cutter, so this is just a prototype. This isn't a full-blown product. And because we've got the laser cutter here, we can kind of tinker around, play with some concepts. So you have here, this is our ProTech screwdriver set.
Yeah, and you guys have seen this
Love
before.
this thing.
Yeah, it is awesome. And I thought to myself, this was one of those wake up in the middle of the night, like, oh hey, this needs to happen. This is great for everything, but the problem is, you open it up, set it on your table, you do some work, twist some screws, and then when you're done, you have to put it all back together, fold it up.
Which is great if you're on the go, but not so great on the workbench.
Put it back in the drawer or something like that.
Right.
But if you're in the middle of a repair, you don't want to put away your tools.
Right.
So.
Or if you have like a workbench set up.
Yeah.
So this is just something that I kind of like one afternoon sketched up. Like, hey, I bet we could make something that'll put this screwdriver set on display. So this.
Genius. Look at this.
There you go.
There we go. And then it just sits on your workbench just like that.
So nice. So how did you, when you came up with the idea and you needed to make a prototype, what was the next step to make this prototype right here?
So I sketched up a file on the computer,
Uh-huh.
just using vector software, and then just sent it over to our printer, and then went over, or not printer, laser cutter, and cut it out and glued it all together.
So
And I'm sure all of you don't have a laser cutter at home, but
Unfortunately.
there are all sorts of cool places like Shapeways and others where if you make a file like this, you can upload your file and pay Shapeways $20, and they will cut it out and mail you the pieces. So laser cutters are really good at cutting thin plastic and wood and foam and
Some foam.
some foam.
Careful with the foams you try and cut.
Yeah,
You might release some chlorine gas.
Oh.
With that may have happened to us once or
maybe. I mean, laser cutters, they're really cool. So it's a laser on a CNC track, so you can control and you can etch. I mean, that's how they do etching. Like on the Fairphone, the logo on the back of this was etched in there using a laser cutter. So they're pretty darn versatile. But there are also our friends at Solar Botics caught theirs on fire.
Oh, wow.
They were doing something with wood in it, and they weren't watching it, and
Oh, no.
the wood started catching on fire, and then they didn't burn anything but the laser cutter, but they did kill their.
Oh
Yikes.
no.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it happens,
Lesson,
right?
Pay attention to your laser cutter.
Well, Brett, this is super cool,
Yeah.
and so is the tray. So if you don't have one of these, definitely go pick one of the.
For sure.
It will help with your
I'm
repairs, of
gonna,
course.
once we get this, this is just a sheet of acrylic, but we'll put the design online. Not yet, but on the page for this. And so if, as you say, if anyone wants, if you go to, who's the laser cutter people? It's not Shapeways.
I mean,
There's
Pinocchio?
Yeah.
Pinocchio's great.
Yeah. Exactly.
Pinocchio.com.
Nice.
Not Pinocchio. Pinocchio.
No. Yeah.
And they'll cut you one out for a few
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah, they're great. And then you can make it out of whatever color and material you want.
Yeah. Brilliant yellow.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Brett.
Super cool. Thanks, Brett. Thanks for joining us. You're awesome. If you have any questions for Brett for what he does with iFixit or his super cool job and all that good stuff,
Or if you have tool ideas.
Or if you have tool ideas, we're always interested to hear what you got. Yeah, he will be in the chat room for the rest of the time. We are getting close to finishing, but I wanted to talk to you about something.
Okay.
Okay, so Popular Mechanics did an article.
Yeah.
And you were in Popular Mechanics. I have it right here. It's not online, so if you're looking for it, actually just go pick it up.
This is a really interesting
pick it up.
issue of Popular Mechanics. It's all electronics oriented. So if you stayed away from Popular Mechanics because you didn't want to work on cars, check out the current issue.
There's our very own Kyle.
Uh-oh.
Look at that.
So they asked me to write a opinion piece talking a little bit about kind of the background of repair and why I thought it was important. And
Yeah.
so I wrote the story of how I broke my air compressor. And then
It was a good story.
yeah, so in case you don't get a chance to read it, when I broke my air compressor, I was going online trying to figure out how to fix it, and I was absolutely astonished at how easy it is to get repair parts. In this case, it was a rigid air compressor,
Right.
and they sold the parts that I needed on the website. And I'm so accustomed to all these electronics companies not making parts
Right.
available that it was just like this breath of fresh air. Like, wait a second, this is how the world should work.
But what about the guide? Was the guide anywhere?
They had some exploded diagrams.
Oh, okay.
But it would have been helpful. So along the way, I was trying to fix it. I didn't have a repair guide, and I didn't know that I needed to. There was a bracket, and you need to screw them in equally. If you screw one in all the way first, you snap it. And so I snapped it, and then had to order another replacement part. But that one was only $3. So that I mean, it was a fun story, and being able to get out in Popular Mechanics was fun. So hopefully we will have more folks on iFixit that are reading Popular Mechanics and are familiar with the site. It is interesting. I mean, we're really seeing things like the answers community is really growing quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was just looking. There was just a question posted a few minutes ago that was a really great answer to a Mercedes, like a 1980s Mercedes car. He was posting a really good disassembly. Well, somebody asked, how do I take this apart? And he posted a picture like, this is where you need to go, and had some tips. So I'm really impressed with the quality of suggestions that are showing up on answers.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And that's not just us helping to answer those questions. That's the whole community. That's what I love about Answers, is that everybody pitches in to help you out with what you're troubleshooting there. So, cool. One question for you. Do you see this one?
So Peter wants to know, can we design a reference desk friendly toolkit that public libraries can use? Yeah, so there's this growing movement in the library world to say, hey, libraries are kind of worthless these days because we can get books online. Not worthless, but attracting less attention. So what can we do to make libraries more relevant? And if you think about, does everybody in the world need to own a power drill? Well, if maybe, but maybe not. And it should be nice if you could just go down to the library and check out a drill. Or, does everybody need an ice clack? As much as I would love to sell everyone an ice clack, it's a little bit of a specialized tool. So if you knew that you could go down to the library and they had an ice clack on the workbench, that would be pretty nice. And so, Peter, I would say absolutely that's something that trying to figure out ways that lending libraries can loan out these things or have a set of screwdrivers like this. Do
you think repair cafes might be that future?
Repair cafes. So Peter, who's asking the question, is the founder of the Fixit Clinic in Oakland. So they do local repair groups. And if you're in Oakland or anywhere in the Bay Area, I definitely recommend you check out Fixit Clinic on Facebook, and they post their regular meeting times. But they have their repair coaches, and you can come in, and they won't fix anything for you, but they will happily guide you along the process of discovery to learning how to fix it yourself.
Right.
And so it's a really, I think, friendly, fun, family, sort of friendly environment to learn how to repair something you might have been intimidated by. And Peter tells me that they have close to 100% success rate on toasters. And since I know that Peter really likes seeing toasters come in, bring your toaster to Peter, and he will help you fix it.
What do you think the biggest problem with toasters
He's going to hate me for that. Toasters, I mean, it's just the spring inside them breaks, or, the latch doesn't stick down, and usually that sort of thing is pretty straightforward to fix. You just have to be willing to take it apart. And at some point, it's not about the money. It's about, like, I'm going to go and I'm going to buy another $20 toaster, and it's going to last for another 6 months. I just want the dang thing. I don't want to go get another toaster. I don't care how much it costs me to fix it. I just want a toaster that's going to last me more than a few months.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Well, cool. He put if you're in the chat room, ifixit.com/chat. Peter did put his link up there. So fixitclinic.org.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thanks for being here. This was a fun one. And we had Brett. Brett's awesome. If you have any questions for Brett, make sure that you go into that chat room and ask him.
And we're looking for ideas. So what do you want to see next? What can we do that would be interesting? Do you want us to do a live teardown? Do you want us to start fixing things? Do you want us to answer some questions off of iFixit Answers Live? We are really open-minded. We're here to serve you and to facilitate the community. So anything that we can do to make your life fixing, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know what you want to see next time, and we're always watching Twitter. You can use the hashtag iFixitLive, hashtag iFixitLive, and then you can also reach us on Twitter. I'm at Gwendolyn Gay, and Kyle Wing, is it K-Wing?
K-Weens,
yeah,
on the Twitters. And one thing I would love to see all of you get on Answers and start answering questions. There are more questions coming in right now. We've had an influx of new questions.
Things are breaking.
And so it's a really good time to earn reputation. There's a lot of new folks on there, and a lot of the questions are pretty easy to answer. So if you go on, solve somebody's problem, and they say, yeah, that fixed it, you get 30 points.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, I think we're going to try to do this again soon. we're gonna try to keep up with the regularity.
Hopefully. So.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see you next time. And also you can let us know if this is a good time for you and what you really enjoy seeing from us. So
Okay.
cool. Thanks for joining us, guys. See you next time.
Cheers. So I need to get Brett to laser cut me one of these.
That's super cool. We need one for back here.
Well, can she have this one?
It's yellow.
So we can put this.